Hello guys, how's everybody doing? So just bear with me here for a brief second. All right. Yeah, just bear with me for a brief second. I'm just setting this up. So just bear with me. So hopefully everybody's having a great day today. An awesome and blessed day. Once again, it is a good Friday. And yes, hello guys. How's everybody doing? So as you guys know, I am Jean Jacques. I am Jean Jacques, and thank you guys for watching this. Thank you for those of you that have subscribed to the channel, and those of you that have not subscribed yet. Thank you, because you know what, I feel like this camera is just a little off. There we go, a little bit better. Or unless, how about like this? Yes, it's a little bit better now. But then I got to move my chair. There we go. There we go. Yes, now it's good. So, yes, guys, thank you guys for those of you that have already subscribed to the channel. And those of you that have not subscribed yet, I do thank you as well for watching. And those of you that that have been commenting and everything else, I do thank you all. I thank every single one of you guys, because all of you guys mattered, and every single one of you guys is the reason why this is happening. That's is the reason why I'm here. So I do want to say thanks to everyone. So I have, just as you guys know, I am in the real estate, insurance, and finance industry. And today, what is it that I'm bringing towards you guys? I want to bring a topic, with everything that's happening. This topic is pretty much an entrepreneur, an employee versus entrepreneur. Between those two. So that's the situation that I'm bringing towards you guys to to deal with. All right. Hopefully that hopefully that we get to get some shed light on this situation and see what's happening and see what's going on, and so that we'll be able to have some questions answered, and not only questions answered, and we'll also be able to get some feedback with some of you guys to know what's exactly is happening. As you guys know, with the current economic situation of everything, everyone's running out of everything, and people's working from home. Some folks are losing their employment and things in that nature. So there's a whole line of situation that's happening with regards to that. Which is why I'm bringing this forth for you guys to talk about the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee. And give me 1 second, guys. I just gotta fix something right quick. There we go. And there we go. And oops. Yes. And here it is. So, like I said, it's a touchy subject. It's a very, very touchy subject for some folks with regards to what's happening as far as in the marketplace, or as far as anything like that. As far as job wise. So like I said, I want to bring this. I want to bring this towards you guys to see what you guys think about it or anything like that. To see if there's anything that you guys wanna. If there's any questions that you guys wanna definitely ask or anything like that. I'll definitely be happy to talk to you guys about that. All right. So let me not delay things any further. There's a couple of steps really to cover. So the one thing is, I want to talk about having a set hours. That's on the employee side, and is not responsible to continuance of the business. And when they leave, it's out of their mind. That's number 3. Number 4 is driven by fear and wants. And number 5, it's one set of income. Number 6 is lack of freedom. And on the entrepreneur side, I want to discuss, entrepreneur have multiple sources of income. And on top of that, they have somewhat of freedom of time. And they are driven by power and money. And I'll explain that in a moment. And they are focused on business and self-investment focused. That's number 11. So I have 11 points to cover with you guys with regards to this as far as employee and versus entrepreneur. All right. And oops, give me 1 second, guys. And yes. So now, why don't I get back into that, and let's talk about the first one, which is having a set hours. So as you guys know, as employees, employees usually have a set hours, meaning that whatever that they are, they are working, it's either 9 to 5 or 3 to 6 or 2 to 8, whatever that hour is. It's a set amount of hours that they are working. So they have a set amount of hours that they are working. So meaning that it's whatever those hours are. Oh, excuse me, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm just dealing with sending this out real quick. Just had to send out a quick text for a second. All right. Okay. So yes, as I mentioned, they have a set amount of hours that they are working, and that's pretty much it. They're not doing anything in that. Of course, there's always the opportunity for overtime when you're an employee, but at the same time, even if that time and a half or double time, whatever that is, that the employer is offering, it's still at the same in the same token. Once you leave, you leave. You know what I mean? You're not worrying about next day production or anything like that, or whatever else that needs to be done, or anything in that nature. But that's just an employee. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, guys. Employees play a major part of a business. They play a huge part of a business. They are the reason why businesses function and operate. You know what I mean? Because definitely the owner or the entrepreneur or whoever it is can't do everything themselves. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to talk like, downsizing employees or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is just sharing light. This is just sharing light on just the difference between the two of them, between an employee and an entrepreneur. And I'm not telling you that an entrepreneur is the next best thing since slice of bread. That's not what I'm saying at all. You know what I mean? I am just solely pointing out and bringing to the fact that the difference between the two. All right? That's pretty much all that I am doing, is sharing the light on that. And so if there's anything as far as anything like that, as far as what you would really want to know about, or if you have a question for me, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. I'll be more than happy to reply to say whatever, not just say whatever, to answer whatever questions that you may have. I don't want to leave anybody blank. I don't want to leave anybody, you know what I mean, with a questions that's unanswered. So that's the first thing. So why don't I go back for a second with discussing, as far as the hourly thing. So when an employee leaves, when they leave, they're not worrying about what's about to happen to the job, unless somebody's worrying about getting fired. That's when things get a little complicated. Folks is like, oh my God, what's about to happen, and this and that and the third. But other than that, an employee is not really concerning about the job. They know, hey, listen, I come in, I do my job, and then I leave. I receive a paycheck, and that's pretty much all that I have to worry about. If I do what I got to do, my job is secure, so I don't have much to really think about. So that's the step of that's the route of an employee. You know what I mean? And from there, that's just how it goes. So number two is, they are not responsible for the continuance of the business. That is true. Employees are not responsible for the continuance of the business. An employee is not thinking about, 5 years down the line if this business is going to exist. If anything, some employees might say, you know what? If this is not working out for me, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to find the next job or the next career, or I'm going to switch job within my career to make this work for me. They're not thinking about, in the next 5 years, if this business is going to still be here, or in the next 20 years, or what's going to happen once I retired, what's going to be this, what's going to be that, or what's going to be the situation once I retired. An employee is not thinking like that. That's not their mind frame, and that's not their job. That's not their responsibility, to think about, the legacy of a business, to think about the legacy of a corporation, to say, okay, what is the proper step of measure to get these things done. Hey, Deidro, how are you? How are you? Yes, more them. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and spending this time with me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to share the live for me. Thank you. Thank you, brother. So, like I was saying, that's not their job. That's not their job to think about, what's going on, or what's going to be the next thing, or how is this business is going to survive, or is this business sustained, if this business is going to be able to pay its employees and things in that nature. Employees is not built for that. They're not meant to think about the business in that aspect. That's just not, something that they really think or worry about. You know what I mean? That's the side of an employee. Not that it's bad. There's nothing wrong with thinking like that. It's just that's not their function. That's not what they do. That's not their functionality. You know what I'm saying? You can't fault an employee for not thinking of the success of a business. It's just, you just can't, because that's not what they thinking about. So guys, we do have 11 steps to cover. That was step number 2. So step number 3, why don't I bring that forth so we could discuss it a bit. And if there's any questions, please comment down below. Always go on the About Me page. You'll see that there is my email is on there. There's many ways to contact me: Facebook, Instagram, whichever way, Twitter. I'm on all of them. So there's multiple ways to contact me to actually talk to me. Sholzy, how are you? Thank you so much for visiting me. Please thumbs up the live for me. And if you have any questions, please ask them so I could respond to those questions for you, okay? Yes, thank you. So, step 3 is, when leaving their when leaving their mind, is out of their mind. So of course, as anyone that's ever been in an employee state of mind. And guys, please do connect. Please do connect on here. If you see someone that you are not a part of a family with, become family with them. If you see someone that you interested in their page, become family with them. Don't forget to go to their page, watch a short video, and leave a comment so we could do it properly. And so that the love could stay. Because if not, what's gonna happen is the big boss YouTube is gonna take back the love. We don't want to work for our time to go to waste when we give somebody some love. All right. So so when an employee leaves their workplace, what they do is they're not thinking of tomorrow if what happens to this job or what happens to this company if something goes wrong. If something goes wrong, so be it. That's what they looked at, and that's what they usually say. And Deidro, Shudsy's calling you. Okay, there you go. So yes, what usually happens is they'll be like, what? If something happened, if this company shuts down, I'm gonna just go and move on to the next job, to the next company, or I'll go to a temp agency and hold me over in the meantime while I'm getting things together, while I'm getting situated. That's usually what they're gonna say. So that's just the mind frame of an employee, and we can't fault an employee for thinking like that. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm going to get to the side of the entrepreneur as well. I'm just going to the employee side, and then I'm going to give you guys the entrepreneur side. So step number 4. Step number 4 is driven. What drives an employee? What does an employee actually really care about? What makes them motivated to come to work? What makes them motivated to get up and want to be at a workplace? So there's a couple of things. Employees is motivated by a couple of things. 1 is income, and 2, it's fear, and 3, it's is wants. So when employees, if they want a job, that they at and they're getting great benefits, they're gonna want to be there. They're gonna want to keep on going. They're gonna want to shield and protect their position. They're gonna want to move up in the ladder into that company. So it's very important that for an employer to know what drives employees. So let's talk about money. Because don't get me wrong, like I always say, money is a driven factor in what we do in this and everything that we are doing. And don't get me wrong, I always say, being in love with money is the root of evil, but loving money, there's nothing wrong with that. We all love money. Everybody loves money. It's just being in love with money is a problem, because if you're in love with money, you'll do anything for money. You guys know that is the truth. Yes, that's the truth. So if you're in love with money, you know what I mean, you'll do anything for money, and that's just a bad situation. And if you love money, there's nothing wrong with that, meaning that you have the urge to make money work for you. So employees and entrepreneurs, they love money. That's the reason why an employee go to work, is because there's the flip side of that, there's going to be the return on their investment, which is themselves, which is they get a paycheck. They get a paycheck so that they'll be able to do things. And as I said, they're driven by fear. They're driven by fear of not being able to do what they want to do. When I say what they want to do, meaning that you might want a car, you might want, a house, you might want this apartment, you might want to live on this side of town. Hey, Joanne, welcome, Joanne. Thank you for coming out. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for spending your time with me. I know time is precious. I do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. If there's someone on here that you are not family with, please become family with them so that we could grow as a family. Okay. So fear of not being able to do what they want to do, fear of not being able to provide how they want to provide, especially if there's husbands, wives, things in that nature. So things could always go, a little south. So that's the reason why employees is driven by fear and also driven by money. So and wants, everybody wants something. So that's nothing to say or neither there here or there. Everybody wants something. Everybody wants to either improving themselves or do something different. There's always some kind of situation that somebody always trying to do. So why don't we look at the next step, which is step number 5. Still, we are still on the employee side, and which is they have one set of income. That is true. So when it comes to an employee, unless they have 2, 3 different jobs, and at that point they have no time for themselves, so they usually have one set of income. If we think of an employee, we're thinking about someone that's in a career or someone that does a 9 to 5 in a job or some sort. They usually have one source of income. But now in today's time and this new time and era, so what usually happens is folks usually have at least 2 jobs. So they experiencing the soft part of an entrepreneur. But however, they're still shielded and sheltered into understanding that their jobs is they have an income coming. They're not worrying about producing an income. That's the other part of an employee. An employee allows the employer to produce the income for them rather than them going out there and trying to produce an income. So yes, it is 2 different state. It is 2 different view of a situation, which, don't get me wrong, I understand both sides of the coin. I understand both sides of the situation. Not one is better than the other. However, it's all about the preference of someone. If somebody have a question, please, and I do say please, let me know what your question is so I could answer it, because I don't want anybody to leave out of here without your questions being answered. So if there's if there's a questions, please ask those questions so I could answer them for you. And in the meantime, guys, thank you for the interaction into the chat. I do love that. I see you guys connecting. I see you guys, becoming family. That's great. That's awesome. Please keep doing that. And if you haven't shared a live, if you haven't thumbs it up yet, please do thumbs it up. And if you haven't shared it to friends, family members, or whomever, please do so that folks could come in here and get some information about some of the things that I'm talking about, so they could kind of see what's going on and get some information. So either to help them, to help a family member, to help a friend, a neighbor, whomever that it may be. All right. So yes, so that's the thing with they usually have one set of income, and that one set of income is usually it, and that's what they depend on. Like I said, they'll let the employer handle that part of worrying about paying them, while they're worrying about doing the work as far as keeping the company afloat into doing the work into the company. As I mentioned before, neither side is bad. It's all about what somebody really wants to do. Hello, Mrs. Jagged, how are you? Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing your time. I do appreciate you for being here with me. And you could please feel free to link up with anybody that's in here. Anyone that you don't know that you want to be family with, please do so. So, it's all about, what somebody really wants to do, and as far as how they want to do things, and as far as how they want to, proceed and things in that nature. There's nothing wrong with either side. It's all about, it's a preference. Some folks love the shelter. Some folks love the security of having a job. Some folks enjoy that 9 to 5. They'll do their time and then they go home, enjoy with their family. Others feel like, hey, you know what? I don't mind being out there hustling and grinding. There's nothing wrong with it. So it's all about, your preference. However, once someone experiences the one that they wants to actually follow, the track that they want to be in, it's a tough track to get off. It's a very tough track to get off. So I will get a little bit about that with you guys. So with regards to the with the income, that's usually what happens in the employee side of things. There's usually one side of that. So it's usually just they get their income, and that's pretty much what's happening. So now here's the other part to that. There's a lack of freedom. So when I say a lack of freedom, I don't mean like freedom like, oh, you can't do anything, or you can't do this, you can't do that. No, the lack of freedom I'm really talking about is it's a lack of freedom like this. When you are an employee, you let's say you have a 9 to 5, you depend on that 9 to 5, and your income is also driven by the hours that you put in for that 9 to 5. So meaning that if you schedule from 9 to 5, you can't say, you know what, I'm gonna reschedule and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there at 10 or 10:30 because I have to go handle this. You can't do that because you are scheduled to be in that employer's employment place from that duration of timing, which you can't really deviate from that. Some employers will say, you have what they call it, you have time off, you have PTOs, you know what I mean? You have personal time off, or they'll allow you to do this, allow you to do that. So it's all different. Every employer is different, and also your benefit package is different. So that plays a major part into things, which is your benefit package. Once you have your benefit package together, that explains everything. That lets you know how things actually go and formulate. So that's what I mean when I say there's a lack of freedom when it comes to an employee, meaning that you can't freely say you're going to reschedule things or you're going to work things around your schedule. You're going to build your own schedule. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. That's one thing on the employee side. So guys, let me recap for a little bit. So because we're gonna move to the side of entrepreneur. So on the employee side, we have set hours. Set hours meaning that we either have a 9 to 5 and or 8 to 3 or 7 to 3, 11 to 7, whatever that we are doing, and those times is usually fixed. And that's pretty much it. So and apart from that, an employee does not have to be dealing with the responsibility of a business continuancy. That's number 2, meaning that they don't have to worry about if this business is actually gonna live and outlong and the legacy of the business, because that's just not something that they're dealing with. That's not something that they wanna focus on. That's not their thing. So they don't focus on that. That's not what they do. Their mindset is just not for that. And number 3 is once they leave, the business is out of their mind. Once they leave, their shift is over. They're not thinking about, hey, listen, you know what, what's gonna happen tomorrow if this one doesn't show up. No, once an employee leave, they leave, and that's it. So and number 4, we talked about what are they driven by? An employee is driven by money, fear, and wants. Of course, fear, money, and wants, when we equate to that, it only means that they are worrying about the amount of money they're going to get paid, and what is that money going to do for them, and how they could best to use that money. And of course, the fear is, what could they accumulate with that money as far as their wants, which ties into that, as far as whether it's going to be a house, a car, or whatever the case might be. So, these are the things. And then we talked about number 5, which is on one set of income. Usually employees have one set of income, and that one set of income is usually it. They don't try to, nowadays you will find folks that you could say semi entrepreneur mindset, meaning that they have more than one job. But that's always been in existence, to have more than one job, but you're still not creating an income for yourself as far as generating an income as far as on the entrepreneur side. So you're still an employee on the employee side, which there's nothing wrong with that, as I mentioned before. And number 6, we mentioned that, a lack of freedom meaning that you can't just easily shift your schedule however you want unless it is okay with the employer or it is deemed to do so and seem necessary, and they could use, your ability and your skills in that next shift of entering. So these are the kind of things that, some of the kind of things, an employee has to deal with. So now, guys, we're going to shift our focus a little bit. When I say we're going to shift our focus, we're going to start getting into, discussing the role of an entrepreneur. seeing what is the true role of an entrepreneur. How is entrepreneurism actually work? How does it function? What is the mechanism behind an entrepreneur, and what does it take to be an entrepreneur, or what is the skill sets required and necessary to be an entrepreneur? Don't get me wrong, as I mentioned before, we midway into the live stream now. There's no, oh, excuse me. I'm not telling you that one is better than the other. All I'm saying is it's a preference. Some folks like the security of having an income. They know they have a paycheck coming in, and some folks like to say, you know what, I like the ability to be the one that's out there creating that income without worrying about a manager or anyone bossing me or whatever the case may be, or anything like that. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with the two of them. It's just a preference. It's a preference on what folks like in their mindset and what they're trying to achieve in life and where they wants to be in life. That's pretty much all that it is. There's no a difference. There's not. It's not one shoe fits all. Or if you do this one or that one is bad. That's not what I'm saying. That's not the case. That's not the situation at all. Guys, why don't I move into gear? To really discuss and into what is entrepreneur. So let's look at it this way. Entrepreneurism within itself is one of those that requires specific set skills. Number one, it requires a lot of discipline. A lot of discipline. When I say a lot of disciplines, that means that you need to take things extremely serious to the level of, holding yourself accountable, doing things that normal folks that, wouldn't do, and doing everything above and beyond to succeed. You look at this business like it is yours. You look at this enterprise like it's yours, this corporation, whatever that you have, like it is yours. And you'll do anything. When I say anything in the right mind to make sure that it is succeed, to make sure that it runs smooth, to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and you're always holding yourself accountable. And it requires a lot of discipline. Like I said, it's not just, hey, you know what, I want to do this and I saw someone done it and I could go and create the same thing. I could do the same thing. No, it's not like that. The life of an entrepreneur is a very difficult and troublesome life, specifically at the beginning. At the beginning of an entrepreneur, you gotta look at it this way. You have no help, you have no sustained income, and not to mention, friends and family. That's the time where they usually turn their back on you. So if you ever speak to any entrepreneur that's out there, any business-minded person, they'll tell you, you know what, you'll have a lot of friends and families when things are going good. However, when things are starting to go bad, when you first started out, you have no friends and family. Nobody wants to support you. Nobody wants to invest in you. Nobody wants to take their time out to explain anything about you. That's not their thing. That's not what they're doing. They don't care about that. That's not what they're for. That's not what they want to talk about. So that's the one thing, you got to look at as being an entrepreneur. You always got to think about it this way. An entrepreneur is like you as a driver on the road. As a driver on the road, every other driver is a bad driver. You are the only great driver that's on the road. Reason being, because you have to make sure you watch out for every other driver that's out there, including yourself. So you wind up holding yourself accountable to the next highest level, to everything that's happening in the road, to make sure that everything that's supposed to be happening is happening. So that's one thing that you really have to look at as an entrepreneur. That's one thing that you have to self-sustain yourself as an entrepreneur. However, like I said, it requires a lot of discipline. It requires to be strict with yourself, and it requires a lot of self-denial. You denying yourself. When I say self-denying, as you denying yourself, meaning that whenever you make some income, you need to be sure that income is not for you. You got to deny yourself so that the business could prosper, that corporation could prosper, whatever that you have, so that you could lift it up from the ground. So you have to deny yourself a lot of things, and you have to hold yourself accountable for a lot of things. Sometimes your employees will make more money than you, but you know what though? You starting out, that's fine. Just be grateful that at least you have employees. So that's the one thing as an entrepreneur that you gotta look at. So why don't I move on to the first step of an entrepreneur, which is step number 7 into this whole process. Step number 7 is multiple stream of income. So that's the one thing. As an entrepreneur, yes, we start out as usually as one stream of income. However, we usually find ourselves as entrepreneurs as having multiple stream of income. When I say multiple streams of income, meaning that whatever that we are doing wind up multiplying and wind up bringing us into a new line of work to where we are multiplying our line of business into creating more income and revenue. So that's the one thing. That's what I mean when I say, multiple stream of income, meaning that an entrepreneur is not tied down to just one specific stream of income or just one specific category of that's in the industry. There's some entrepreneurs that's widely spread so that they could provide the best for their clients or for the business, whatever that they are doing. So that's the one step about, an entrepreneur's income. An entrepreneur's income is always, usually, let me not say always, bringing multiple different streams of income. Even if it's an entrepreneur that owns a store, think about it this way. If you own a store, you're not selling your own brand name product. You bring in many different products into your store and branching it out that way. So therefore, even though you purchasing products or your suppliers you're buying from your suppliers, that's still multiple stream of income in a way if you think about it, because every product that you sell that's not yours, that's a stream of revenue of income that you are creating and you are building, you are increasing. It's never to look at as an entrepreneur as you only want to deal with just one line of work, one line of business, and that's what that line of business is gonna generate all your revenue for you. And I have not met one entrepreneur that actually done that. Even attorneys or doctors have not. I can't really say doctors is an entrepreneur because they are semi because they still depends on clients. Attorneys, yes, most of them are entrepreneurs because they have to go out there and find clients. You know what I mean? So we could look at that line of business, for instance, or we could look at, some other company that provides services as a line of business, as far as entrepreneurism. So, that's the one thing with that. Hello, Marlon. How are you? Thank you for coming. Please don't forget to thumbs up the live for me. Thank you for coming into the live stream. I am pleased to have you. And thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Thank you very much. Yes, let's go. Please connect with anyone that's on here, Marilyn, that you are not connected with. Please connect with them so that you'll be able to create some new families and put some new families under your belt. You know what I mean? Create a new way so that you continuously to build. Thank you so much for coming. So I'm just discussing employees versus entrepreneurs. I did the employee side, so now I'm at the entrepreneur side. And at the entrepreneur side, I was just finishing discussing, the value of income that an entrepreneur places on their business. So, guys, that's step number 7, like I said, and let me move to step number 8. So, on the entrepreneur side, so we could kind of get this going a bit, so we could kind of get this thing started. So, step number 8 into entrepreneurism is freedom of time. Freedom of time. So when I say freedom of time, what do I mean? Freedom of time means this. Usually once a business is established, once a business or a corporation, whatever that it is established, the person responsible for it usually doesn't have to be tied down to one set into the business, meaning that they have to be there every second and every hour. They have liberty of time to say, what, because at that point they probably have managers, supervisors, or things in that nature. They have a chain of command to where they don't have to be there. So by doing that, what's happening is they could start to remove themselves and start to free up some of their time. Like for instance, if they have to go to the doctor, so they don't have to. They could easily say, you know what, my manager is here. I don't need to be here. I could take that hour and go to the doctor and come back. So that's a freedom of time. If they have to go meet, with a client, they could say, you know what, the supervisor is here at this time. Why don't I go into this business meeting and meet with this client and handle this, and rather having to disturb the client and having to come to their location and things of that nature, they have the freedom to move around. They have the freedom to shift their schedule. They could also say, you know what, I want to work from 5 to 2, or that's 5 in the morning to 2, or anything like that. You know what I mean? Or 6 to 2, 5 to 3, whatever that day choosing to work. So they have the freedom and the liberty to tailor their schedule. Or they could say, you know what, I really don't think that I need to work past 5. So at that point, they could easily say, you know what, I don't need to be there at 5. I could literally shift my schedule. I could shift my timing to where it's tailored to what I want to do, and deal with what I want to deal with. So that's what I said. That's why I said, they have a freedom of timing, because freedom of timing is on their side. They literally have the freedom of timing to do things that they really want to do, things that they really wants to do. That's on the entrepreneur side. Once things get going, they do wind up having freedom of time and anything like that. And like I said, guys, if there's ever any questions, please comment down below. My email is in the About Me section. Don't forget, if you have any questions, to go over there and do what you need to do and send me an email, whatever that the question is, so I could get your questions answered for you. Okay? So why don't we move into step number 9? What are, entrepreneurs driven by? Pretty much same thing as employees, but just in a slightly different fashion. So entrepreneurs is driven by money as well, and they're also driven by power. They're also driven by power and fear as well. But however, their fear is a little bit different from an employee fear, and they're driven by power is different from driven by what an employee would be looking for. And their fear is also totally different. So why don't I touch base on those two, and so we could formulate to see what's happening, so we could get an idea on how these things is going. So entrepreneurs is driven by money and power, right? So number one, the one thing we want is power over ourselves. Power over ourselves, meaning that we want to be free. We need power. We need power of freedom. We need freedom of being financially free. So that's power. We need to be financially independent to our family. So that's power. And when we say we are driven by money, meaning that we are driven by money. Entrepreneurs is definitely a money-driven machine, meaning that we do what we do because we want more money. We need to be sustainable. So therefore, we put ourselves through the most crucial pain that it is to either wake up at 5 in the morning, go to sleep sometime at midnight, and have the time 1, 2 in the morning, and we do it all over again every day. Not one day is ever the same. So we are driven by money, but money for a good cause. Money that will be able to, flourish, the business. We'll be able to flourish the corporations or whatever that we are doing, so that we'll be able to hire more folks. We'll be able to have more entrepreneurs just like us and build into a chain, or we'll be able to have more employees. So these are the factors that kind of drives an entrepreneur. Some folks might say, "Oh, entrepreneurs is the devil," because reason being they love money. No, it's not that we devil or they the devil because they love money. That's not what it is at all. We just see things on a different lens. We are not in love with money. If anything, most entrepreneurs, believe it or not, usually wind up donate so much of what they do. The more money they make, the more they donate. The more money they make, the more folks they help out. But a lot of folks that doesn't see it that way, they'll say that entrepreneurs is in love with money. They are money hungry. But there's nothing wrong with being money hungry. Money hungry means that you have a goal to achieve. You see what I'm saying? A lot of folks look at it the wrong way when they see it that way. There's nothing wrong with being money hungry. Personally, I am always money hungry. I am always money hungry. When I say I'm always money hungry, meaning that I'm always looking for the next opportunity. I'm always looking for the next move. Always looking for a new way to do something different. Not that I'm leaving what I'm doing, just to amplify what I'm doing, to help it out, to make it better. So I'm always looking for that route. Always looking for that way. So that's the route of an entrepreneur. When we look at some of the things as far as driven by money, power, and fear. So what is the fear that drives an entrepreneur? The fear that drives an entrepreneur is simple. It's the fear of closing down, the fear of closing the doors, the fear of losing a good employee, the fear of not being able to provide enough for the employee, the fear of their business, the corporation, their legacy to not be fulfilled. All these things are fear of an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you always, wants to succeed. You always wants to do more than you actually can. So we push ourselves to the limit. So therefore, that creates a fear of failure, that we don't want to face, and we are refusing to face it. And most entrepreneurs will tell you, each time that they fell into a practice, into a business that they were doing, it's a major blow to them. And however, the one thing is though, they keep coming up. They keep bringing themselves up. They pull themselves together and start all over again and do it again. So that's really the spirit of an entrepreneur. It's not easy, but however, it is doable and it is feasible, because all you gotta have is the mindset that you will achieve. And along the way, listen. Like they said in baseball, you keep swinging that bat. Sooner than later, you're gonna hit a home run. That's the thing with entrepreneurs. However, you gotta be able to look at, folks gonna judge you, folks gonna look at you wrong, folks gonna say a lot of things, folks gonna discourage you. The folks that they're gonna be the first to discredit you. They're gonna be the first to throw you away. They're going to be the first to close the doors on you. They're going to be the first to do all these kind of things. I'm saying them because I experienced those things. As an entrepreneur, I am an entrepreneur, and these are the things that I have experienced as I started in my journey as an entrepreneur. Folks closed their door on me. They didn't want to support. They didn't want to do anything. But however, I kept going, kept moving forward. That's what makes you succeed as in the line of an entrepreneur. Is no matter how many times that you fall, you keep pulling yourself back up. So that's the one thing, is the fear. That's the fear that we have, that keeps us going, that keeps us floating, that keeps us getting up, that keeps us getting up at 5 in the morning when we don't feel like doing something. That's the fear that makes us get up and want to do it. When you don't want to call someone, that's the fear that makes you call that person. When you don't want to work with someone, that's the fear that helps you. That's the fear that helps you to curve that attitude and say, you know what, I'm going to work with that person. Let me put my best foot forward and to curving that attitude and to fixing whatever is going on. That's the role of an entrepreneur, of their fear. Their fear is supersede anything, and that fear caused them to succeed. So why don't I move on into step number 10, their focus. Entrepreneurs is definitely business focused. When I say business focused, entrepreneurs is so business focused, they always want to enhance their business. They always want to enhance their practice. Like, for example, I always want to enhance my practice, enhance my clients, always want to enlighten my clients on what's happening, what's going on with the economy, what's going on with the market, and they never stop learning. Let me tell you, I don't think I'll ever stop learning. The number thing is, as an entrepreneur, I take is to always remain always remain teachable, and I've always keep myself in that mode, as to keep myself as someone to remain teachable, meaning that I will let somebody teach me and guide me, feed me with information, and then decipher the information and see and go do research to see what's going on with that information and how I could best to utilize it. I'm not a boss. I will never be a boss. But however, I am a leader. Yes, I am a leader. I am not a boss. I'm far from being a boss. A leader sometimes has to know when to follow and when to lead. A leader is one that takes counsel's advice. A leader is one that knows, when to be wise and to not try to be foolish, meaning that you don't know everything. You don't know everything and you're not going to know everything. Oh, let me move this up a little bit. I just noticed that it was slightly crooked. There we go. It's a little bit better. You guys can see the top of my head now. Yes. So, I look at it this way. I am a leader. So therefore, I know when to lead. I know when to follow. I know when to take the best advice. And, meaning that I try my best, to listen to folks. I don't just believe my idea is the best idea. I don't believe in that at all. I do believe, however, that, some folks that gives you ideas, those ideas might be the cause of your failure. So as an entrepreneur, I have to be careful about that. I have to be careful of, listening to every folks and every ideas, because not every idea is a good idea and not every decision is a great decision. So we have to be extremely careful as an entrepreneur when we are focusing on our business. So when I say we are business focused, that's exactly what we mean. We always looking for the next best idea to grow our business, our practice, our industry. We always looking to help the next entrepreneur that's coming up. We always looking to embrace somebody that wants to learn from us, because that's just the life of an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs like to share, believe it or not. We do believe in this. However, we're not gonna share, in profit that no one have not worked for. That we do believe in, and that's where a lot of folks will say, we are entrepreneurs are selfish and they are money hungry because they're not gonna know that one specific person may not be able to rejoice in the profits or whatever you may want to call it, the profits, the revenue, the interest, whatever that it is. So that's a major difference. You see what I'm saying? However, the folks that surround us, that's helping us to move the train, that's spinning the wheels with us, yes, they do rejoice in that. And there is nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to keep saying it, there's nothing wrong with, loving money. I love money. I love money. I'm just not in love with money. If I say I'm in love with money, I'm lying, because I'm not gonna do anything I'm not supposed to for money. I'm not gonna cheat somebody out because of money. I'm not gonna deceive anyone, or I'm not gonna take what doesn't belong to me and just because of money. No. But what I will do is work hard for money. So the love for money is gonna keep me going. Is gonna continuously keep me going. But I'm not in love with money. So therefore, money works for me. I don't work for money. Money works for me. I create money. Money don't create me. A lot of folks have that confused, especially some entrepreneurs. Once they start making a couple of dollars, they forget all about folks. They forget about who they are and they lose their character. They portray themselves as someone that, from Mars or whatever the case may be. All because now they have a couple of dollars, which is the wrong way to look at things. At that point, they're looking at life through a different lens. If we look at Bill Gates for an example, as you guys can see how he is and how he does things, he's not, he's not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's casual, a casual person, in business. When he's out in business, he's a businessman. He dresses as businessy, but when he's relaxing, he dresses casual as casual folks. Now, just like me, look, I'm not always in a suit and tie. As you guys can see, I dressed down some. I started taking off the tie because I feel it was unnecessary. You know what I mean? So I stopped wearing a tie. But however, I do wear a suit and tie when I'm going out, when I'm working, when I'm doing business, yes. But when I'm relaxing with my family, I'm out in the park, I'm not wearing a tie, I'm not wearing a suit. So what I wear is simple. You see me probably with a t-shirt or with a shirt on, that as usual, casual folks. That's what you'll see. So these are the lines of entrepreneurism. These are the lines that makes entrepreneurs to, excuse me, I have something in my eye here. These are the things that makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur. That's Kai Promo, what's going on, brother? How are you, man? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Yes, welcome, welcome. Please connect with any folks that's on here. Don't forget to, my brother, don't forget to thumbs up the live for me. And also, don't forget to share out the live so some folks could get some benefits out of this, all right? Thank you, brother. Thank you for showing up. So I was talking about employee versus entrepreneurism. I finished the employee side. Now I'm at the end of entrepreneurism because don't forget, I only go live for about an hour or so. I try to keep it, very, very rigid to about an hour. I try to not go over much over an hour. So pretty much I have about another 5 minutes and 55 seconds left with this live, and then I'm gonna let it go. So yes, that's the situation with entrepreneurism. They are business focused. That's what they do. Yes, thank you, my brother. Thank you. So that's what they do. That's what it's all about. They are very business focused. So number 11, which ties up the end of entrepreneurism, which is self-investment. Entrepreneurs like to self-invest. They like to reinvest into their business. They like to invest within themselves. They like to invest into their employees, some of them, not all of them. So let me explain what does that mean for you guys. When I say that they are self-invest motivated, that means that they like to prepare themselves because they know they're not going to be there forever. And at some point, the business is going to need to go to someone else. So they prepare the bed before they go to sleep. They prepare the bed before they get tired, meaning that they start with the proper steps. So they bought their homes if that's what they're going to do. They invest in real estate if that's what they're going to do. They invest into cars if that's what they're going to do. They invest into gold if that's what they're going to do, and diamond if that's what they're going to do. They invest into life insurance if that's what they're going to do. Believe it or not, you'll be surprised how many entrepreneurs invest into life insurance because they know that's the one vehicle that gives them a safe route and the best guaranteed for their bucks. And they invest into things like annuity if that's what they're gonna do. Long-term care. They self-shield themselves with with investment. And most entrepreneurs as well likes to invest into their employees because they know, once they leave, they create a chain of command so that people could step into their shoes so they could keep the legacy going rather letting all that hard work that they did go to waste. That's the one thing. Very few entrepreneurs ever thought about, selling their legacy once they retired. Very, very few. Not too many. That's from doing research. Not too many ever really want to sell it. But most of them usually want to pass it on, to someone that they see fit, deem necessary, that could actually keeps their name going and keep the legacy moving. That's usually the life and the route of an entrepreneur into letting things go smoothly as possible. So they like to invest and reinvest in themselves. That's the life of an entrepreneur. If there's ever any questions, like I said, I do want to hear from you guys. I do want to know what you guys think about, what you guys talk about. Not what you guys talk about, what you guys want to talk about. Please go to the About Me section. You'll see my email there. You could always contact me, or you could always call me too. You could always call me at 716-222-1935. 716-222-1935. And if you don't get me, leave a message, because if I'm with a client or someone, I'm not going to pick up the phone. But I do return calls. You could text me on that number. You could do all those great things on that number. All right. And if there's ever any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to explain. If there's something that I've said that you don't quite get, you need me to explain it to you, you need me to share a little bit more light on it, I'll be more than happy to explain about that. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. I'll be more than happy to share light on it. I do want to thank everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone. I want to thank those specifically that have not subscribed to the channel yet, but are watching, because I know soon or later, you guys will subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to share it to your friends, your family members, or those that are close to you. I want to thank those that have subscribed to the channel. Thank you for being my pillar. Thank you for being my support. Thank you for listening to what I have to say. Thank you for supporting my work. Thank you for, allowing me to bring this message towards you, closer to you. I do appreciate you. Thank you thanks to those of you guys that have been sharing the live. I do appreciate you all. Words cannot express how much I appreciate you guys. If there's ever any questions, or if you ever have a friend, family member, or anyone that may need to a question answered, please feel free to go to the About Me section and ask any questions that it is. Like I said, you guys could call me at any time, 716-222-1935, or you could shoot me an email. My email address is on there. I'm open to any one of those, and I will, definitely answer. Another way, what you could also do is to leave a comment down below, somewhere, and that comment will come to me. So therefore, I'll be able to respond to that comment, and we'll be able to communicate, and we'll be able to get your questions answered that way. I'm all about helping. I am here to help. I am here to help anybody that needs shed light on anything or whatever that it is. I am here to support and promote, anyone. So I do want to let you guys know there is going to be a key speaker that's going to be coming on to talk about we're going to have a Q&A format, and that Q&A format is going to be pretty much about credits, how to build your credit, how to get better credit, how to take things to the next level so you could do things that you want to do, how to better enhance yourself. I do want to let you guys know that to watch out, for the live, because it's going to be live, to talk about things like that, as far as, how to best equip yourself, how to get things going for yourself. I don't want to keep you guys too long. If there's any questions, please let me know. If there's anything that I could help someone on, if there's anything that someone could, feel that, either a neighbor, friends, family members, whoever need help with, please reach out to me. Don't forget to share the live, and subscribe to the channel. Share it to your friends, your family members, your neighbors, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbor that you haven't seen for, 10 years or so, whomever that's in your circle, and let them make the decision to see if this is something that they like, if this is the right fit for them. Don't make the decision for them, because you never know. They might be missing out on something that I could have helped them on, only because that you make the decision for them. All right, so don't make the decision for them. Let them make that decision on their own. And guys, I love you. I love you all. And without further ado, it's that time for me to let this go. So I'll see you guys soon, and I'll speak to you guys soon. I usually come on live about 7 p.m. If I'm a little late, just wait for me. About 7 p.m. is the time. Okay, I'll speak to you guys soon.